Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Exchange.
The Exchange.
On my left is my partner in crime, the co-host of this show.
Partner in crime?
What is your name?
Wayne the Hat-Trick Wizzy Webb.
That's right. My name is David Johnson. Our social media handles will be at the bottom of this screen.
Oh, for real?
And thank you guys for coming back to The Exchange. If you hear a little noise in the background, that's because it's raining like crazy up in here. But
so,
we be all right.
Shout out to Jesus.
We be
Shout out
all
to
right.
the homie Jesus. Yeah.
So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in this week. Today is The Exchange.
Yes.
Today is The Exchange.
Yes. Oh,
Let's do the jingle.
my bad. Go ahead. Do it again.
Today is The Exchange.
The Exchange?
That's right. So the Exchange, what is that, Wayne?
The Exchange is when we take questions from you, the people, and
give it back to you,
the people.
And we give it back to you, the people.
Anyway, shout out to Tom Hardy. What a great
Go
guy.
home, hug your loved ones.
Anyway, and we take your questions and we answer them. They could be funny, serious, cool, awkward. If you're awkward, send us awkward questions and we'll answer them awkwardly. I love the word awkward.
Be careful about them questions, though.
No, don't send anything
If
inappropriate.
you don't want your name read next to the question, just put anonymous. We got you, fam. So we got some questions today. We got some good ones. So the first question, the latest issue of Marvel's Champions. Now, if you don't read comics, Marvel's issue of Champions is like the mini Avengers. So it's Miles Morales, Spider-Man.
Yee.
It's Kamala Khan, who's Ms. Marvel, who's like Mr. Fantastic, but just as an Indian girl.
Gotcha.
It's Viv Vision, which is the Vision's daughter.
Ooh.
Where they like created like a younger cyborg, so it's Viv Vision. Amadeus Cho, who is the totally awesome Hulk. A kid who got, subjected to the gamma rays and all that stuff that the Hulk did, but he has control over it and he absolutely loves it. And it's this Asian kid with a mohawk on the Hulk. It's pretty cool.
That's
so
legit.
It's the mini version. It's like the high school version of the Avengers. It's good so far. So issue 24, this question is about issue 24. So the question is, Miles Morales is dealing with a school shooting in that issue.
Okay.
So the question is, how do you feel about real life events bleeding into the comic world?
That's a good question.
So in that issue, like he's web swinging, he's like playing hooky basically, because he's like, listen, I'm Spider-Man. I got to play hooky. I got to save people, etc. And he has to get back to school because you get like one of those Amber Alerts on your phone. Yeah. And it has this moment where he like freaks out because it's like shooter in yada yada school, and it's his school, and he has like that, oh my gosh, so he's flying back to get there.
Okay.
He comes back to the scene and there's some kids are dead. And so it's like one of those like, yo, that's kind of heavy to deal with. Yeah. And which is just a really good question. Do you like stuff like that being implemented in comics or in any other like geek foundation or geek foundry where people are like, yeah, I go to this because I love the comics, but there's a school shooting in it. And I'm like, I kind of go, because you can go with the argument where I go to that to escape from the world. Or you could go with the argument or the side of, I like that thing that obviously it's fantasy, it's make-believe, but it's almost grounded in something. What do you think?
I like the fact that they are tying in real-world applications to something that is like make-believe kind of, And so I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with like school. Don't hear me say I'm okay with school shootings. That's terrible. But I'm okay with them finding ways to tie in or like to connect, what's real and what's not real, because everybody can be like, it's not real, blah blah blah, don't worry about it, just take it with a grain of salt, it's not real. But there's something in there that ties it into real life, and I like that, and how you can, no matter what you're going through or no matter what's happening, there's always something that you can use to like tie in, just kind of connect everything. It doesn't matter if it's fake, even WWE is fake. Like, we all know that. Yeah. But like sometimes they'll talk about things that are real, and it's like the tie-in between, okay, they're wrestling and it's fake, and you can tell their punches are not real punches, but they're talking about real world issues, and so people still watch wrestling because they know how to connect and bring in that like kind of stuff. And same thing with comics, and same thing with movies. Like, even though we know it's make believe, people, go out, use their imaginations and come up with some amazing stuff, you still can be able to have that tie in to real life. And it's not all about just escaping. Sometimes you have to like face reality and face what's going on in your country, in your society, and all that stuff. So I understand for the people who say like, I read comics to get away from real life and stuff. I understand what you're saying, but it can't be to the point where, you lose touch with what's actually happening in your own like backyard.
It's a very fair point.
So that I like it.
I too. I really like it. I understand. Like, some people are like, listen, a lot of the stuff is like crazy, and I need to get away. And I understand that, and that's why the comics and movies, all that stuff, is so vast. Is that you can get lost in something like that, and I think that's the whole point. Like, do I want to get listen? Sometimes I don't feel good, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just watch Transformers and just watch stuff blow up for no reason.
Yep.
Because it doesn't tie in, connect with anything that I'm going through, and I understand that. But for the kids growing up that are reading Champions, that are like, hey, that situation happens in schools now. That seeing someone they ultimately look up to as like a superhero dealing with the same issues and having the same hardships means that they themselves feel like, oh, well, I'm closer to Spider-Man than I thought. Yes, we know it's not real, but for the mindset of kids growing up, that's something that is big for them. Like, one of my favorite comics that I've read recently was, it's The Mighty Thor, and it's when Jane Foster becomes Thor, but Jane Foster has cancer. And so the entirety of the book was them saying, like, someone approaching her, every time you become Thor, you're going to become weaker in real life. And it's going to literally spend your life force. And she's like, I got a job to do. I don't care. And so a lot of the comics were her going ham as Thor. Next panel is her doing the chemo, like, drip therapy for longer than last time. And it's one of those things like, well, it's comics. Everything wants to be cool and exciting. It's like, no, that's real and that's tough.
Yeah.
And to see someone as strong as Thor have to deal with that, it really impacts the reader. And that's why I think stuff like that is important for comics. Is it good to get away? Yes, but it's also good not to completely, like you said, completely isolate yourself to where you're like, oh, where am I? Because nothing else matters.
Am I in real life, or is this fantasy? Shout out Queen. Last one.
If you could re-release Moon, the movie Moon, and redo Kevin Spacey's voice with someone else, would you do it? So Moon is a movie that came out with Sam Rockwell, who played Justin Hammer in Iron Man 2. He played that guy. So in that story, he gets sent to the moon because the moon has resources, etc. And he has to harvest stuff out of the moon. And spoiler alert, spoiler wall, if you haven't seen Moon, it's a very good movie. I would suggest seeing it. Too bad I'm going to spoil it for you.
It's okay. I'm ready.
You come to find out that he left 20 years ago, and he's just been another clone. Like, they cloned him so that he wakes up and realizes he's clone number whatever.
Wow.
Exactly. And so,
what a spoiler.
Sorry, man. He's a clone, and so he's starting to break down. Like, the clones have a half-life, and so his teeth are falling out, he's getting sick and all that stuff, and he realizes he's a clone. And it's the story of him trying to break free out of that. And so Kevin Spacey voices a robot made by the corporation that's supposed to keep the clones under control and supposed to make sure they don't know what's going on. And so Kevin Spacey's voice is very, hello, Sam. How are you today? It's very eerie, and it's based off of HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me. And I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
Okay. And it's very calm and creepy and very reserved. And of course, everyone knows what happened to Kevin Spacey, the whole that stuff. So the question is, can you redo it? And
Shame.
I would say no. You can't do that to movies. I'm someone who can separate people and their art, who they are and what they do. Is Kevin Spacey a bad person? Yes. He was great on House of Cards, though. You know what I'm saying?
Started on House of Cards,
the unfortunate.
bro.
That's what happened recently in the Predator. they had to cut a scene with an actor in it, and they got rid of the actor because he was a registered sex offender, and no one knew. It just came up, and Olivia Munn realized it and told somebody. And it's not like, you know what I'm saying? And in that situation, it's like, well, you gotta get rid of him.
Deuces, fam.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what House of Cards did with what was his name in the show? I'm blanking.
Underwood.
Frank Underwood. That's what they did with Kevin Spacey. Is he a great actor? Yes. Are you gonna get rid of Seven? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Oh,
are you gonna take him out of that movie because you know what I'm saying?
Oh no.
What's in the box?
Oh,
are you gonna get rid of him? So that's where the dangerous thing is, but because you can't get rid of people's, particular performances just because now that it's like, oh well, he did something that's frowned upon, she did something that's frowned upon. You can still like their art. Philip Seymour Hoffman, who overdosed, was in, he was the bad guy in Mission Impossible 3. He was in Capote. He's been in a bunch of things, but you can't just say, he overdosed on drugs. Heath Ledger, he overdosed on drugs, so we're not going to align ourselves. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that.
Best Joker of all time.
To what I understand what this person is saying, I think it's ultimately your decision. If you can't watch it without your conscience affecting you, then that's okay. Then you don't have to watch it. I don't think that's where you go, you know what? Let's replace. Nah. Time out. Because he was good in that movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't impose your opinion on the will of a studio and be like, listen, y'all should redo it, recast the voice, do something else. Could they do it? Yes. Do they need to? No. It's not really necessary.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. If you can't watch a movie with someone who's done something like that, if you say I can't do it,
it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean it's just you, but don't be out here trying to be like, look, go ahead and redo the whole thing because I don't like it.
Yeah,
first of all, it's probably not going to happen. 9 times out of 10, it might not happen. So you can go ahead and get that out the way.
Yeah.
Second, they did something bad, but the art was so good. Just enjoy it for what it is. And because even though without that even though they did something bad, probably without that person in that role or in that movie, even if it was just voice acting or whatever, they made that movie.
Yes.
So just enjoy the movie for what it is.
The directors started movies with those actors in mind. And so if you're like, hey, let's take it out, you're ruining the vision of someone who wrote it. You know what I'm saying? It's a slippery slope. That's the only thing.
Their art is amazing, but their actions are not amazing off.
I think you can separate the two.
Yeah.
Do you think you can separate?
Yes.
We believe you can separate the two. Now, do people do bad things? Yes.
For sure.
Here's the same thing. James Gunn. I can separate what James Gunn said 11 years ago against what he did in Guardians 1 and 2. Because there's a difference in his art. And I can tell from what he said back then to what he did recently, there's been a change of a person.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's all we got to say about it.
That's just us.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is The Exchange.
The Exchange.
Thank you guys for tuning in this week. Be back next week. We'll bring more questions. And if you guys want to send us a question, send us a question on email using the email contact@entx@gmail.com. If you want to send us a question on Twitter, use the hashtag #EX. That's not, I don't know why I was drawing.
AskEX.
AskEX. If you also want to send us a question, you can put it in the comments of this video below.
Comment your questions.
I have a question for The Exchange. Typewriter noise. Typewriter noise. Typewriter noise.
Okay, that's typewriter noise.
Got it. See what I'm doing there?
Signing off for now. Coming a little bit closer. It's your boy Wayne, the Hat Trick Wizzy Web, and that is David Johnson. And we are Entertainment Exchange. We love y'all. Keep rocking with this dopeness. Peace out, Girl Scouts.